let's discover some highlights about methods of poisoning in medieval times, and what kind of and what kings have been victims of such types of assassination. And we're gonna discover also some facts about common types of poisoning in the past. And we're gonna start with ancient times, because throughout history poison has been one of the weapons of choice for assassination, and particularly among the high ranks, kings and emperors, and important persons from the courts. There were various types of methods and substances, and here are some notable methods of poisoning used in the past. The common poisons, for example, first was arsenic. It's nicknamed the king of poisons, or the poison of kings. It was very efficient because it is tasteless and odorless, making it very easy to mix it with food or drinks. Poisoning from arsenic includes symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and why it was so efficient is that these kind of symptoms can be often mistaken for a natural illness. Right, so arsenic was the most used type of poison in the past. The second one, it's type of poison, it's belladonna, or deadly nightshade. This kind of poison contains atropine, which causes hallucinations, dilated pupils, and eventual death due to the respiratory failure. The belladonna extract, or the belladonna substance, was used in ancient times by the Romans and throughout medieval times. Next is cyanide. Cyanide is found in certain seeds and fruits. However, pure cyanide was difficult to obtain in ancient times. It's the most effective because cyanide causes rapid death by disrupting cellular respiration. The fourth one poison used is aconite or wolfsbane. This type of poison was used by the ancient Greeks and Chinese. Ancient Greeks. causes vomiting, heart problems, leading to death or the cardiac failure. Sometimes this kind of poisoning was mistaken with a classical heart or cardiac failure. The next type of poison, the fifth one, is hemlock. Hemlock. Hemlock causes paralysis starting from the lower limb, ascending, leading to the death by respiratory failure. Well, these were the five most used poison types in ancient times throughout medieval. Now, let's unveil methods of administration. First, the easiest way is drug ingestion, because these types of poison mostly were very effective when they were injured and they reached the internal gastrical system. Poison were often mixed into food and drink, which was the most common method of the easiest administration. Wine was a frequent medium due to its strong flavor, masking the poison. Another method of administration was topical application. Some of the poison could be absorbed throughout or through the skin. Poisonous ointments or substances were applied to clothing, linen, and personal items. These will lead to a prolonged time to take effect that could be last days or even weeks. The third method was the envenomed weapons. Envenomed weapons like arrows, tip of the swords, and other weapons were coated with poison. These ensured the death or serious injury even if the wound itself was not fatal. So this one is not right. The fourth method was inhalation. It was less common but possible with certain volatile substances. For example, fumes from burning toxic plants or chemicals could be used to poison the victims, but in many cases this will not lead to death of the victim. And the fifth one is injection, direct injection. It was a more sophisticated during that time and less common due to need for a suitable delivery mechanism. Needles or sharp objects dipped in poison could be used to introduce toxins directly in the bloodstream. Right. Wow. There was also types of detections and countermeasures, even in the ancient times. Well, most commonly, tasting food by the servants or animal was a common precaution. There were also antidotes. Antidotes and treatments were developed over time, such as Derricus and Mithridates. Mithridates are complex mixtures of substances believed to counteract the poisons. And there was also systems of early vaccines. For example, notable rulers like Mithridates IV of Pontus allegedly took small doses of various poisons to build immunity, an early practice of vaccination. The use of poison has always been shrouded in secrecy, often reflecting the treacherous and unstable political power in history. And our next chapter in this session is related to the several kings and emperors that are believed to have died from poisoning, with varying degrees and details available. First example, Alexander the Great, the king of Macedon and conqueror of much of the world. He died at age of 32, while some historical accounts suggested that he died from a fever, possibly due to malaria. Other proposes he was poisoned. The exact nature of poison, it's speculative, with suggestions ranging from arsenic to strychnine. Why? Because Alexander the Great suddenly developed the illness, and that after a banquet. And these kind of festivities were very common in ancient times, and they were the perfect place to poison some certain people. The second example was Claudius. The Roman Emperor Claudius is widely believed to have been poisoned by his fourth wife, Agrippina the Younger. The poison was allegedly administered via a dish of poisoned mushrooms or a feather dipped in poison used to help him vomit. Well, next example is Emperor Queen Xin Quan from 259 to 210 BC. The first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, may have been accidentally poisoned by consuming mercury pills. Mercury pills intended to grant him eternal life, because he was obsessed with immortality and ruling all of his lives over Chinese empire. And he started to make experiments and to take alchemical substances in the hope to prolong his life. But his death was sudden and attributed to the ingestions of very toxic compounds, unknown at that time for their fatal compounds. Next, Pope Clement II. Pope Clement died suddenly, and later it was suspected that he had been poisoned. Modern examinations of his remains have revealed high levels of lead, suggesting poisoning. Some theories suggested that political intrigue or deliberating poisoning due to the opposing with the church. Ivan the Terrible, 1530 to 1584. Also officially named Ivan IV of Russia and nicknamed Ivan the Terrible, might have been poisoned also. Post-mortem examinations of his remains have indicated the presence of mercury high mercury levels in his bones. It is unclear if this was a deliberate poison or an accidentally one. His unpredictable behavior and violent tendency made him enemy for many thousands and even members of the court, adding this plausibility to the death by poisoning. Next, Henry VI of England, 1421 to 1471. Well, Henry VI died in a very mysterious circumstance in the Tower of London during the Wars of the Roses. While official account states the fact that he died of melancholy, it's widely believed that he was murdered on purpose, possibly by poisoning, from the orders of the Duke of Gloucester or King Edward IV. Right. King John of England, 1166 to 1216. King John, often remembered for his signing the Magna Carta, died in very mysterious circumstances after a severe illness. Some accounts and contemporary chronicles suggested poisoning, while the modern medicine generally attributes his death by dysentery, but nevertheless the poisoning suspicions is still taken into account, even today. Charles of Navarre, or Charles II, 1332 until 1387. It was known as Charles the Bad, Charles the Bad, and he died after being treated for an illness with a remedy involving a cloth soaked in a brandy which accidentally caught fire. While this was a tragic accident rather than deliberate poisoning, his reputation for using poison on others led to speculation about his being accidentally poisoned also. Boleslav III Weimouth, 1086 to 1138. It was the Duke of Poland, and was reportedly poisoned by his wife, Salome of Berg. The details of his death are somehow ambiguous, but chronicle suggests that political reasons were behind his poisoning by his own wife, which, by the way, was believed to be a spy. And the last one in our list is Gautama Buddha, circa 483 BC. Although Buddha not a king, the Buddha's death is often included in discussion of historical poisoning. According to some Buddhist traditions, he died after a meal that contained tainted pork or poisonous mushrooms, offered by a blacksmith named Kunda. But the truth is still unveiled in mystery. Well, these cases reflect the perilous nature of political power and the common use of poison as a silent method and precise method of assassinations throughout history. Thank you very much for watching this type of session, and I hope you enjoyed this video. At the end, the only thing that I'm asking for is to subscribe to my channel. It's the only support that I'm requesting. Until next time, I wish you all the best.